what we should be connecting with, who we should be looking to communicate with, to put some things into action after we share for one whole month the concerns and the values and the directional thinking of Black people. Carter G. Woodson says in his book, Miseducation of the Negro, he said, and I quote, "If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action." I'm going to repeat that. It was Carter G. Woodson that said, if you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action. When you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself of what he will do. If you make a man feel that he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept inferior status, for he will seek it himself. If you make a man think that he is justly an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He would go without you telling him. And if there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. Simply put, he'll create a back door so he could go out off. He's not going to go to the front. If you make a man think that he justly is an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. He also said, Carter G. Woodson, is known to have said this, as another has well said, to handicap a student by teaching him that his black face is a curse and that his struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. I think that bears repeating. As another has well said, to handicap a student by teaching him that his black face is a curse and that his struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. Mercy. That was Carter G. Woodson. I'm hoping that that would be something that will ignite us to at least want to have discussion tonight. Because we definitely need to talk to one another. We need to share. Our young people, our children, our future depends on them knowing how we are looking towards a brighter future and what it is that we need to improve upon so as to move step by step, strategically strategically towards excellence. W.D. Muhammad is known to have said this: where do we locate the real force that has been driving us to more and more excellence and to more and more courage to defend what is right and to condemn what is wrong? Now, I'm going to take a little segue here before I continue to read the passage that is recognized coming from such an esteemed leader as W.D. Muhammad. Whilst I was at the program on Saturday, the 7th of February, where NABA Communications brought in a speaker from Jacksonville, Florida, to speak on the subject of the rejected stone. It was a very enlightening delivery. But not getting into the delivery, when the meeting was over and we were all milling around talking and sharing, finishing off the night with good thoughts, I couldn't help but be inspired by the pictures throughout this union. These pictures reminded me of what I just read. And I'm going to read it again. When I looked at Wycliffe Stubble, the right-hand man to Dr. E.F. Gordon at one time. Wycliffe Stubble, the uncle of my wife. Alethea DePina, one of the people known to be amongst the first 5 members of the Workers' Association that's now the BIU, that metamorphosed into the BIU. Alethea DePina, known to be the First Lady of Labor in Bermuda. My grandmother. Inspiring pictures. When I looked at Julian Hall with his briefcase and him and Duncan, 2 lawyers, brilliant lawyers, representing the union at one time. And when the speaker looked at that picture, he asked me, "Who's this person?" The gait, the walk that those guys had going up at the parliament, not the parliament, the court, must have been so impactful. You could see that they meant business. So the speaker, Imam Yahya Abdullah, he asked me, "Who's this brother?" When I told him about this brilliant lawyer who is now in the law, the legal fraternity, as being presenting a case study having to do with illegitimate children. When he done the representation of the West Indian woman who brought our children from Jamaica, and the Bermuda government wanted to send them back to Jamaica because of considering them illegitimate children, and she brought them here to be a part of the family of a Bermudian husband. Julian fought for them and won their case. And his description of illegitimate child made history, where it became a case study for teaching in the legal fraternity. Our brilliant son of the soil named Julian Hall made history by giving the world in the legal fraternity a perspective of illegitimacy that they had never heard before. In his case, they tell me they use that to teach law to the law students. Now, why I mentioned those three? Because I could relate. It was inspiring to know that I had my grandchildren there last Saturday to tell their stories about their ancestry. It was a wonderful feeling to know that I wasn't just talking and telling stories. We've been a part of the story. And some of us have a legacy that demands that we continue the work that's not been finished. Good God Almighty, man. I just wish that we could find a reason to talk tonight, because we've got plenty to talk about, particularly when you have a strong desire for a better future. Imam W.D. Muhammad, he asks the question, where do we locate the real force that has been driving us more and more towards excellence, more and more with courage to defend what is right and to condemn what is wrong? Where do we locate the real force that's responsible for this? I think that's a worthy question. To go into the open door of opportunity, even if someone says you are going to be killed when you step into that door, something says, die for your dignity. Die for your God-given humanity. We don't want anything defected, weak, and small in value. Now, I tell you, man, if we have anything of desire, that alone should spike something in us that says, hey, we're going to find something to support this because it's worth continuing. Progress is being made in the Black community. I have no doubt about that. I don't have to look far. I am who I am because of the ones that went before me, and I stand on their shoulders. I'm trying my best to make myself aware of those who opened the doors of opportunity. There are success stories of Black business people, and I'm very excited and proud. I'm happy. I'm encouraged. In fact, when I see what represents the success stories, I'm highly motivated. I'm not totally satisfied, but I'm highly motivated. There are success stories of Black business people, male and female, that we celebrate. We have good reasons to be proud of them, because we're looking for establishment in Bermuda, in our island home. As a people, establishment requires that you have foundation to build on, securities that support your ideas, be them intellectual securities or financial securities or material securities. We want to be established in Bermuda to be able to compete better than what we've been used to. We want establishment that we can be proud of and not be ashamed of. Some of the stuff that we are known to have in our background as a people sometimes is shameful. It's not all the time, but criminal activity and undignified activity that we attach ourselves to for survival, some of this stuff is shameful. And I don't need to say it. Many of us, we've experienced it. We see it playing out in the community life. We can't argue with that. But the shameful deeds and actions is not who we are. No. We're a part of a success story. Black people, male and female, are being represented in the corporate arena better than we've ever done before. Banking, accounting, in the law firms. So proud of my nieces, who has made my mother proud when she said she's got a lawyer in our family. I could still see my mother's face when my niece graduated. My mama said, we got a lawyer in the family. You know, one of the stories my mama told me, see, my dad passed in his early 40s. And I was going 12 that year when he passed. And my mom had a good reason to tell me different little stories along the way. Just after he passed, he said, your dad told her if she was to outlive him, if he was to go before her, and I don't know if he had a premonition, if he had a feeling that he was going to go that soon at the time he told my mom, he said, make sure that my sister Velma, who was studying to be a nurse, she was in Jamaica at that time, make sure that she finishes school. My mama told me that story. I said, man. And when my sister graduated, I remember my brother, if I'm correct, if my memory serves me well, and I do know, you know, I'm getting a little skittish these days. If my memory serves me well, my brother, Anthony, went down to my sister's graduation when she graduated as a nurse in Jamaica. He filled in for my daddy. Now, those memories serve me well because I understand how hard my mom and my dad worked to make sure that their 11 children at home was well taken care of and given every opportunity that they could afford. Opportunity. So we're turning out all types of people in education, music, real estate, construction, in healthcare, you know. Our showing in these blocks of business have improved. And it can be even better because it doesn't represent the percentile of people that we have in Bermuda, black people in Bermuda. We have much more we can do knowing what's available to us and knowing our potential and knowing what people who had little or no education. I remember just this weekend, this brother was telling me a story of this individual who had just gone to the third grade and dropped out of school for various reasons. And this particular person who went through third grade only was the foundation of this particular brilliant mind in Bermuda being successful in his profession. The third grader done so well, he was able to fund and make sure this other guy was educated. So do we need to always have to go to the formal educational schools? No, we don't. In order to be financially equipped. But that's not to indicate that because we're successful in one area that we should not see what's available to our children and our future for us to be comprehensively established as a people. Meaning what? To have qualified people in every capacity where a community needs representation. You remember what I said? Every capacity. And we should be able to manage our affairs, what they say, the one that's paying the band, they choose the tunes. So whoever's funding things, they decide where the money's going to go and to whoever it's going to go to and how long it's going to be going to them. Whoever finances. So here we are, had a son of the soil. He dropped out of school in his third grade of elementary school, worked his butt off, established a good bank account, and became the financier for the brilliant minds that was around him. Wonderful stories. We are fastly traveling out of inferiority into excellence and strength. This is what we want. We want to get into situations where we can use our resources and improve our skills and become resourceful enough to produce for ourselves so white man won't have to carry us. We have to carry ourselves. I'm not picking on, nor am I being racist when I say that. Our history is strewn with facts that say we have a past that said we had so little, unless you had a friendly white guy to help you out, you weren't going to get much help. And those that done without the help of white people, it was a difficult struggle. And some people undermined them along the way because they had the ability to pull the plug on their development and the speed of their development in their success stories. Stumbling blocks were put in front of them because the white guy had the resources that we needed most times. That's not to say the only resources we got came from white people. I'm not saying that. But we would be better serving if we would want to etch out a set of circumstances and a condition amongst us that says we carry our own selves. We wouldn't need to have white people carrying us. And thankfully, I'm encouraged to know that we are well on our way in having that more of a reality than what some of us may imagine. I'm so thankful to know that we are able to recognize success stories that we can be proud of, that's coming from some of our loins, that's coming from the neighborhood, that's coming from the communities that we're working with and working for. People are moving into doors of opportunity. And some of us have in our history the people that took the courage and had the strength to stand up for right, to correct the wrongs, condemn the wrongs, and push open the door of opportunity. We didn't just wait for it, we pushed the door open. We have black men and women who have risen up into the political life of Bermuda and into the governmental, educational, and business systems, and are able to do much for their own people, which was done before only by whites. I conclude by saying we should feel good about that and want to see us be more responsible for our education in our community, our communities, because we have the smaller community and the broader community. We have the ethnic community and we have the Bermudian community. So when I look at us wanting to die for dignity, die for our God-given humanity. That word dignity is a powerful word, man. A quality or state of being worthy. An intrinsic worth, meaning what? A worth that's given to you inherently. It's given to us through our God-given nature. It doesn't come from outside. It's not dependent on outside forces. The dignity that we have that comes along with our human possibilities is intrinsic. We have it in us. We just have to bring it out. Our worth. The quality of being worthy. We should not be trapped into being and accepting feelings and information that makes you feel or try to teach you. Like Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the Negro. You can't accept someone making you feel inferior and you accepting that's who you are. We have the ability to move towards excellence just by us having a desire to accumulate and demonstrate through resource and intellectual discourse for us to move towards excellence because we have the human potential. We're no less than any other group. And the huge lie was told, and the authorities of yesterday that intentionally made it look like black people were cursed and that they should be people as servants because they were from Ham and they were relegated as being servants. And even religious orders actually pushed that idea and supported slavery. because some people were made to feel as though they were cursed to be servants, and servitude was intended to be represented through slave labor. Now, knowing that's in our history, I'm so thankful today that we have enough going for us. We have enough information available to us that's debunking, that's throwing that out the door. We have a history of truth and insightful knowledge that's coming to the forefront, that's pointing to who was responsible for rejecting the stern, the rejected stern. The decency in humankind. We had an order of power brokers that rejected decency and went into practicing abuse of humankind. And in turn, we got slavery. That wasn't people that didn't know better. They used that as an excuse to put people into slavery, because God's truth never, ever taught people that one group of people is more inferior than the other group of people who are recognized as being more superior. All men were created equal and endowed with inalienable rights, given the right to choose, inert, from internal, from within. The Creator gave us that. Our dignity and our worth is intrinsic, it's inherent. The Carter G. Woodsons, the Imam W.D. Muhammad's. And why do I say it like that? I said Carter G. Woodson started the Black History Week over 100 years ago. Are we able to measure the changes that has taken place over 100 years? That's why I chose to read from Imam W.D. Muhammad, to have us to see the type of progress that we're making step by step towards a greater ideal. So the number is 295-1027. The numbers on Balance Matters. You hear me tripping myself up, right? 297, not 295, 297-1027. Please excuse me. Forgive me. Please forgive me, dear listening audience. 297-1027 on Balance Matters on this Grown Folk station. In recognizing Black History Month, I would hope that those of you who turned the dial wants to talk tonight, calling on Balance Matters.
Yes, peace be unto you, my beloved brother.
And unto you be peace, my brother.
Man, it's so wonderful to hear a sober mind and a truthful soul to bring this truth to some sort of reality in our community.
Yes.
I just thank Almighty God for people like you, man, that has the courage to bring this forward. And
yes,
hopefully that is listening minds that will take this message seriously, because, you know, I see, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, I see some things that disturbs me with our young black man, especially.
Yes.
Especially.
Yes.
And why I say that? Because I left school at an early age, and I went to work in a garage. And 80% of the personnel in that garage were black male mechanics,
Yes.
top mechanics.
Yes.
And I was fortunately enough to work with them, and
Yes.
they taught me, and they never went to any college, none of them, but they had the experience.
Yes.
Old mature man,
Yes.
black man,
Yes.
black Bermudian man,
Yes.
and they spent time and trained me and taught me my trade, and I'm forever grateful.
Yes.
Why am I saying that? Because it's too many of our young black men today who don't take life serious enough, man. You know, they're getting caught up in foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
And our women suffer as well because they can't find decent husbands, you know, to care for them and work with them.
Yes.
And I'm happy to say the black woman is moving. She is moving in her rightful place, and thank God, because we have taught about the woman. She's the teacher.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
She's the teacher. So
Yes.
the teachers are in a good place. I say that.
Yes.
You know, but our black man, it's disturbing me now. You know, I haven't lost hope, of course.
Yes.
But we have to teach them now, more so than when I was coming along, or equally, because they have so many vices working against them, you know, drugs, sex, and now electronics that can damage their minds if they're not steered in the correct road, you know.
Yes.
So I thank people like yourself, man, who has the courage to take this to new heights, because it's greatly needed amongst our black men. You know, I have give you a story. One time I took a group of young boys under 10 years old to the Bermuda College to introduce them to the the technical area.
Yes.
And the instructor took us through the whole area in 6 trades, Cromwell. Do you know how many students were there? 1.
Mercy.
1. And I'm taking these young boys to introduce them, and it was 1 student. It was so embarrassing, not only for me, but for the
professor.
The professor in charge.
Yes.
And you know how many years ago that was? That was more than 15 years ago.
Yes.
I didn't know what it's like today.
Yes.
But we have to instill in our young black men and boys that they need tools for this world that they're entering in. They need tools, and they can't wish it. They have to work towards it, just like our ancestors, like you were saying about your father and your mother.
Yes.
And my father and my mother and my uncles didn't even have a high school education.
Yes. Yes.
But they were tradesmen, they were businessmen, they were building contractors and all that.
Yes.
With no formal education, Cromwell.
Oh,
so it's no excuse.
Yes, man.
But it's people like yourself and myself who have to try their best to inspire them. It's become desperate. That's how I see it anyhow, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yes.
You know, we have to instill in them that life is not about play anymore, man. Not just play. You know, you have to raise your family and show dignity towards your family, and that can't be done with sport and play and foolishness. You know, we have to work really hard as black men, especially black men. And like I said, the women are in a good space from where I see, and
yes.
they're becoming more educated and they're taking the rightful place. But
yes.
I see the black boys slipping into drugs and corruption, and it's evident.
Yes,
you see it. It's evident in front of all of us.
Yes,
but we can't let no one else solve our problems for us. We have to get it to the streets, and you're playing your part.
Yes.
But if they're out there playing, they might not even have time to listen to you.
Yes. Yes.
But we have to take this. This is serious stuff for us as black men. I'm telling you, very, very serious.
Yes.
And we have to try our best. At least we can say we're going on fighting. We're not going on like a little pussycat.
Yes.
And I think Almighty God allow for people like you, man, that has the courage, man, to call it, and without feeling guilty.
No.
You call it.
Can't afford to.
I thank Almighty God for you, and continue to bless you with sound mind and a good soul, man.
Yes.
And long life too.
Praise be to God. Yes.
So with that, thank you for giving me this few minutes, because it's something that's been hurting me for a long time, man.
Yeah, it's hurting.
Long time. And I have sons and grandsons.
Yes.
And I try my best, first of all, to be an example to them.
Yes.
And I have to do that because I can't tell them to do one thing and I'm doing the opposite.
Yes.
So all of us as black men that's listening to this program, take your rightful place. Be responsible to yourself and your family, and especially your sons, man.
Yes.
All of your children, but your sons need our help more than anyone else.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Brother Kumbo.
Thank you very much.
And I say to you, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. And thank you for your contribution.
Yes, that's the best I can do.
Yes. And the rest of a great evening. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. I listened to that caller just now, and my heart is hurting me, and it's been hurting me in the area that I'm about to speak to a long time, and I'm bothered because we don't see and talk about this enough because of what comes along with us having larger numbers of places allocated where you could go any time of the day and find a large number of able-bodied men drinking, smoking, and when you look at their I'll say their spirit, they don't seem excited at all or desirous of wanting more than what they're doing. And when I see how many places you find groups of men, and in some cases women too. I brought attention to one of my friends. The women are even joining them nowadays, man. Underneath the tree, on the wall, in the parking lot, in the beach or on the beach. The numbers of these places where people are congregating as though they have no fixed employment, and in some cases, no fixed abode. And these numbers are getting larger and larger. And you go to these places, you see nothing but beer cans, beer bottles, open smoking of drugs, open use of drugs out in the open. Do we think hard enough to figure out how our young people are being impacted by the images of our black community when we have these types of environments in different parishes around the island where we have a large number of the populace being black, the neighbors, the inhabitants, the renters, the neighborhoods. Most of these places that I'm talking about, they're in the areas where the majority of the black community are residing. And some of the images that we see are embarrassing, so undignified and shameful that some of us care not to talk about this stuff. Are we to feel okay with the numbers increasing? And I understand there are various reasons why people are out there, but nobody's going to tell me that there is something better that can be done. There is nothing better there is nothing better that could be done, and we should feel as though this is acceptable because that's the way we are now, and this is what we become now, and there is not much we could do about those things. Didn't Carter G. Woodson say, when you make a person feel as though they're hopeless, it's worse than lynching? If you leave a person feeling that their future is hopeless, that their condition cannot change or will not change because they fell on hard times or difficult times. Look, man, I remember reading this story. It's a very simple, but it's a powerful message. This particular person got exiled from his homeland because he was fighting against the corrupt government of the day, and they threatened his future and his life. So he had to go to a neighboring land to start a new life in order for him to survive, because he stood up to fight against the corruption in his homeland. When he got to this new land, the people received him knowing what his circumstances were, and they were very proud to know that he was making a sacrifice in the interest of a better future, but he was now having to pay a price because they dominated and was about to hurt him if he stayed at home. He had to leave his homeland until things got better. So they welcomed him to this new land, and they wanted to give him charity in order to help him, to get him started. So he said to them, what I'd like for you to give me is a piece of rope. I'm not looking for you to give me money or to give me a whole lot of material things in order for me to survive. And he appreciated very much the idea that they were willing to be charitable to him until he got himself on his feet. But he said he would be better served if they were just to give him a piece of rope. So one of the people asked him, well, why would you want the rope? He said, because of the types of homes that's around here, I'm pretty sure these homes need firewood. So I'm going to chop down some dry trees and sell firewood to help myself. I would like to have an opportunity to help myself. If you could give me a piece of rope, I'll be grateful. Man, when I heard that story, man, oh, that said something to my heart. It said something to my soul. It said something to my spirit. And it's a huge message, as simple as it may sound. A huge message that you could benefit if you just want to help yourself. You'll be blessed with ways to do so if you so desire. The Creator blessed that brother with an insight to see the need, and he started his own business by selling firewood. And that's how he started his new life in this foreign land after being exiled from his home because he fought against a corrupt government. And that government threatened to hurt him, so he had to run. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. Dear listening audience, we're desperately in need of us showing one another that we really want to see better, want to be a part of strategizing to do better, and wanting to gain insight as to how we could latch on to ideas and efforts that's working towards a more dignified life. And tonight, I just wanted badly to invite you, dear listening audience, to step outside of your comfort zone and take the risk of saying to each other the simple ideas that we would like to see for ourselves, the expression of certain interest that we know if we were to share and talk about these interests. After February, after talking with each other, after listening to how we could inspire one another to identify, latch on to, have the encouragement to say, this is what we want, even though we are not at the final, what they say, the finish line. This is what we want. Even though we know that these circumstances that we've touched on a little bit today about our circumstance, our neighborhood environment, I'm not trying to insult or embarrass anybody when I talk about these things. Some of these places I got my own family in some of these areas, mate. So it's not something that is beyond my reality. Some of this stuff is our reality. We're losing some of our family because some of our family have become weak, small in value. They're now defected because of the habits that they have. Some of the negative habits that our loved ones have ended up with has caused them to be, in some cases, less than human because of some of the things that they're doing against their own self. A human being to look after themselves will not hurt themselves like we see some of us hurting ourselves. The lives that we've etched out, that we're living daily. Dear listening audience, make no mistake, the same way I may have a grandson or a granddaughter that's interested in wanting to know who her family is and why we seem to be so strong in trying to keep them motivated, knowing what the challenges are today in the world affairs, where all types of people are being trapped into the habits that's become very destructive to humankind. I'm not saying that what I have is a guarantee to prevent my future, my children's future, our grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren, the next generations. It's no guarantee that they'll do what's best for themselves. But we can doubt what will be the outcome if we continue to hold front and center the more important aspirations. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. We're looking at Black History Month. We're trying to make a contribution as to how we could best help ourselves. I don't make no apology for having to speak to the needs of a people who is a work in progress. We're quickly moving out of inferiority into excellence and strength. And this is what we want. We want to see excellence. We want to see strength. We want to come out of the weaknesses that we know historically has been in our background. I remember as a young boy, you don't see it too